Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Rook here, and today we're going to talk about 5 terrible pieces of advice that you'll get from the so-called ex-experts or ex-coaches that we all see on the platform on a regular basis. Okay, now some of these tips may sound smart at first, but they could seriously mess with your growth overall. Okay, and I'll just say that these are somewhat subjective, but I will give you a couple of reasons why I think each of them are not wise to follow, or they should only be followed selectively. Okay, so the first one is to treat every question as it's some form of engagement farming. Some people will, some of the experts will tell you to kind of avoid these and focus more on original content. But honestly, there are, there these kind of take a couple of different forms. Not all engagement or not all questions are created equally. Now we've seen ones, the ones that I would deem more farming, I guess maybe are ones that are just basically yes or no answers. Things like, who are you voting for? Are you a verified user? Do you think small accounts matter? That type of stuff to me is pretty farmy. But now, if you look at someone like Kelly here, a lot of her questions, like when was the last time you were friend zoned? It's just a single line question, the same way that a lot of the farming ones are. But these can lead to pretty interesting conversations about dating or whatever. Do you think it's easier for men to handle rejection? That one's probably a little bit more farmy. Or name someone that people say you look like. Now she does this all day long. She does, or not all day long, but she does it several times a day. But now she does post some regular stuff as well. But she does ask these questions several times a day. But for the most part, you can see that she does pretty well with them because they all elicit some form of conversation. So, not all engagement is created equally. Some of it's done just to farm, whereas some of it's generally done to elicit some conversation. Okay? Terrible tip number 2, the old follow for follow trick. Okay, it's something that that you'll see like in trains, where you just have people that just say I follow back, but there's no dialogue whatsoever. No, of course you can do this when you're new, and you probably should do it when you're new. When you're trying to get that first 1,000 followers, or if you're trying to get monetized and you're trying to get up to that 2,000 verified follower requirement. So writing the trains and stuff and posts that resemble trains, that ask people to drop their handles, and then everybody follows everybody from there. Those those are perfectly fine when when you're trying to when you're starting from zero. But just what you wanted, it's not really a good long-term strategy because those people are a lot less likely to engage with your post uh, than a higher quality follower would. Okay, so if you're looking for higher quality followers that actually care about your content, you can check out my video on gaining engaged followers, and I'll put a link at the end of the video for that. As far as the follow for follows, they are, like I say, generally a little bit lower of quality, and they're generally people who are only concerned for the number more so than actually engaging with you. Okay. Terrible tip number 3: only following verified users. There are a number of reasons why I don't think it's a good idea. A lot of people nowadays, because of the way X has changed the monetization system, only getting paid from for comments from or from for engagement from verified users. Um, that is true, and I understand the rationale. But let me show you some things that maybe that people are missing out on. So anytime that you make a post, original post or a comment, we're going to take a look at this one, this one right here. Okay, so this is a comment that was, or this was a post that was made by Grums. If you don't know him, he's someone who's in the gaming space. Okay, and I put I commented on the original post. Now, what's happened to this post? Now you can see that my post has gotten just short of 25,000 views. Now, when you look at my post in particular, it's got like 8 bookmarks, almost 2,000 likes, 14 retweets, and then a handful of comments. Now, your whole goal when you're commenting on anybody's post is really for people to see it. Okay, not just the original poster. I mean, you might be talking to just that specific person, but for someone like Grums who has 227,000 followers, if I don't do something to stay to the top, then Grums will never even see it, and most nobody else will see it as well. So my goal is always going to be to try to stay closer to the top if I'm commenting on somebody. Now the way to do that is this line right here. So the the more people that you have that comment, repost, and like your comment, the closer it's going to stay to the top. Now Grums did respond to this also, so the combination of that and then all of the action that it's getting is going to keep me closer to the top. Now, what does that have to do with non-verified users? Uh, there are so many great people, posters, reply people, engagers that you're basically cutting yourself in half. Okay, so and all of this line right here, it doesn't matter if the user is verified or not. So all of my this could be a lot of my unverified users that are helping to keep me closer to the top. So what I do to try to keep this thread alive as much as I can, you can see that I got 13 comments. I replied to all 13 of them because the way the algorithm works is the more action that a post gets, the more X thinks that other people may want to see it. So what I'm doing here by getting a lot of action on my post. Now, like I say, I got 20 almost 25,000 impressions here, or 25,000 views here. But if you add up together all of the other responses and stuff like that I've done, because I replied to almost all of these that were replies to Grums, and then plus all of the ones that replied directly to me. Uh, and I'm doing all of that to try to keep this original post alive so more people see it. And you can see that it's gotten almost 300,000 views, okay, or 300,000 impressions. So as far as the verified users versus unverified, um, I think rather than let that be the criteria, to me the larger criteria is do they engage or do they not engage? So if you're looking at somebody who engages regularly, I would much rather have someone who's non-verified who engages as opposed to somebody with a blue check mark who doesn't. Okay, so that's the basic rule of thumb for me, or the reason why I think that the non-verified users that engage are just as important. Tip number four, terrible tip number four, is using hashtags. I mean, I'm not. I probably won't even be able to find any. So, but I did see somebody offer that as advice, and I just kind of shook my head because realistically, hashtags are dead. Okay, it used to be the key to discovery. You would type a hashtag in, and then you would get posts relating to that or posts that use that hashtag. That's just not really the way it works anymore. You search for anything, and the search bar is so strong nowadays that you really don't need hashtags anymore. So and using multiple hashtags can actually damage your reputation score, which means that your content will get seen less. Okay, so that's enough about hashtags. Like I say, I'm not. I probably won't even be able to find any if I'm looking. So I mean, you'll find them a lot in trains. You'll have people that hashtag I follow back or whatever, and using one is not that big a deal. Maybe even two, but it used to be you would have people hashtag like four or five, six hashtags at the end, and like I say, using excessive use of hashtags can cripple your reputation score. Okay, terrible tip number 5 is obsessing over the 60% following ratio. The Okay, it is true that that having less following less people than you have followers is gives you a slight bump to your reputation score. So you theoretically you can increase your reach, but to be honest with you, it is the biggest problems that I have with it is it's really only one of like a dozen or so things that affect your reputation score. And what I have found that works best for me is trying to minimize the things that I do that may harm my reputation score and limit my reach, as opposed to going with the that follower ratio. Okay, so that's one portion of it. But the largest portion I have, or the largest issue that I have with it is that somebody who's new to the platform, or somebody who has like 5,000 followers or less. The problem that you have is when um, when somebody is looking, trying to decide if they're going to follow you or not. That's when they hover over your name, you will. There's only a few things that they're going to be able to tell about you. Of course, they'll be able to see your bio. They'll see your profile pic, and the following follower ratio is probably going to be the number. Aside from your bio, that's probably going to be the number one thing that they look at. Now, I'm going to see if I can find somebody in here. Okay, this is not great. That's kind of closer to 70% than 60%. But when you are okay, see here's a perfect one right here. Okay, so this guy, I mean, he may be doing more harm by stunting his growth than good he is doing by having the follower ratio, because as you can see here, I've seen this guy before, but I'm not going to follow him because the likelihood is that I'm not going to get a follow back. Okay, and while I may follow a handful of larger accounts just because of the content they provide, not expecting a follow back, I generally am not going to for anybody that's a smaller account. So when you look at someone like this, like I say, the biggest thing and the reason he shouldn't be following that advice is that it's going to stunt his growth. So I would rather be me, someone who's got 11,000 followers. My reach is going to be, even though my ratio is not like this, my reach is still going to be in excess of the bald libertarian. Okay, so like I say, the biggest thing when somebody new hears that advice, they may, they're trying to follow it, thinking they're doing the right thing, and then they may not understand why people are not following them back, and that's kind of a big deal. Okay, so when you're a larger account, you can kind of do as you please. Like, let me show you somebody who followed me just this morning. Okay, yeah, right here. Okay, so uh, see, this is a larger account, and like I say, they can do. They have 201,000 followers. Now they can do whatever they want, but this person has, well, not the symptoms. They're almost certainly a churner. If you don't know what a churner is, that's somebody who follows you, waits for the follow back, and then a couple of days later just goes back through and unfollows you. Okay, because there's no way that you can have 201,000 followers and only be following back 3,500 people. Okay, so but it's none of my business what Aesthetic Visuals wants to do. If this is they're obviously here for money. So if they're okay with doing that, I mean, personally, I would never do it. because I'm someone who maybe enjoys the conversation more so than um, than just making money. Okay, I mean, I want to make money too, but I mean, I wouldn't do it if there wasn't also good conversation to be had as well. This person is interested in money only, and like I say, that this is a pretty extreme example here, but it's kind of what you're looking for, and what a lot of people look for. So if you're new and you're thinking about trying that, the 60% ratio, I mean, excuse me, you can do it. The only problem is that you have to just also be aware that you're probably going to grow way slower than what you would if these numbers were closer together. Okay, so basically those are the five things that I have. Um, the thing to remember about X is it's really not about shortcuts or trying to game the system. You want to have a strategy, have a little authenticity about you, and then be consistent. Okay, so if you found this video helpful, hit the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more X tips. Okay, if you have any other terrible advice that you've gotten on X, go ahead and drop that down in the comments as well. But until next time, stay creative and keep posting.